Spartacus, a name synonymous with rebellion and resistance, is one of the most famous figures in ancient history. His story is both a tragic and heroic tale of a man who rose from slavery to challenge the mighty Roman Empire. While much of what we know about Spartacus comes from ancient historians, much of it is mixed with legend, and the full details of his life and his leadership of the Third Servile War, 73 to 71 BC, remain elusive. However, his revolt has left an indelible mark on history. The early life of Spartacus was born in Thrace, a region that encompassed parts of modern-day Bulgaria, Greece, and Turkey, sometime around 109 BCE. Thrace was known for its warrior culture, and it's believed that Spartacus was likely born into a warrior tribe. Some ancient sources, including the Roman historian Florus, suggest that Spartacus may have served as a soldier in the Roman army before being captured and enslaved. However, there is considerable debate among historians about this detail. What is known for certain is that Spartacus was eventually captured by the Romans and sold into slavery. He was bought by a lanista, a trainer of gladiators, and sent to the gladiatorial school, Ludus, in Capua, a city in southern Italy. The gladiators there were forced to fight to the death in the Colosseum and other arenas as a form of entertainment for the Roman public. Spartacus was trained in the brutal art of gladiatorial combat and became one of the strongest and most skilled fighters. The Gladiator Revolt in 73 BCE, Spartacus, along with around 70 fellow gladiators, staged a daring escape from the gladiatorial school. Armed with kitchen knives and other makeshift weapons, they overpowered their captors and fled to the slopes of Mount Vesuvius. They began to organize a larger group of runaway slaves. What began as a small, desperate bid for freedom soon snowballed into a full-scale rebellion. Initially, Spartacus and his followers were not a well-organized army, but they quickly began to gain momentum. As they moved through the countryside, they freed more slaves who joined their ranks. Some sources suggest that the slave army may have grown to 120,000 men, including women and children. Spartacus' leadership and charisma made him an inspirational figure. He soon became the leader of a growing resistance movement against Rome's dominance. The slave army grows. The Roman response to the slave revolt was swift, but initially ineffective. Rome sent small detachments of soldiers to crush the rebellion, but the slaves managed to defeat these forces with remarkable success. Spartacus demonstrated not only his bravery, but his military acumen, leading his ragtag army with brilliant tactics. He understood the terrain and used the natural landscape to his advantage, outsmarting the Roman forces who were used to fighting in more traditional military formations. At one point, Spartacus and his army scored a major victory when they defeated a Roman force led by the praetor Gaius Claudius Glaber, who had been sent to track them down. The Romans had underestimated the slave army, and, after their defeat, the slaves grew bolder. They began to move through the Italian countryside, raiding cities and villages, and seizing weapons, food, and supplies. It is said that Spartacus had a strict code of conduct for his followers, prohibiting unnecessary violence against civilians and ensuring that those who joined the rebellion were treated with fairness. The Roman Empire's response as the revolt spread. The Roman Senate became increasingly concerned about the threat posed by Spartacus and his followers. The Senate eventually appointed two experienced generals, Marcus Licinius Crassus and Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus, Pompey, to crush the rebellion.